Hi, everyone. This is Eileen Devine, and I am a therapist in private practice, and I support parents who have kids with brain-based differences that have very challenging behavioral symptoms. And so that is who I work with and meet with every day. I'm also the parent of an 11-year-old that has significant neurobehavioral challenges herself. So when I say that I understand what each of you is going through, while each of our situations are unique and different, I truly understand the gravity of this upheaval and what it means to your life, in comparison to lots of other parents who are definitely struggling to adjust to this, what we're talking about as a new normal, and how that looks different for us with parents of kids who have extraordinary needs. So I'm thinking of you, and hope that you're finding ways to not just survive this time, but to really make it through in a way that you feel like you are grounded and anchored throughout your weeks, feeling as though you'll come through this intact of sound spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical health. So that's what I wanted to spend a few minutes talking with you about today. How can we do that? So many of the conversations that I've had with parents over these last several weeks since our world was turned upside down is focused on setting realistic expectations. So the model that I teach parents in terms of viewing their child's behavior in light of the way that their unique brain functions, a lot of that focuses on adjusting our expectations based on our child's skill, their cognitive skills, and understanding what that exactly means. So now more than ever, we have to do that for them and also for ourselves. So it's no surprise that all of us are running a little bit on empty. We had very little extra energy to spare before, and now our tanks are especially taxed. And the same is true for our kids. And so what we know about stress and this prolonged stress is that it has a great impact on our nervous system. And so our body is very good at adapting to stress and dealing with it when it comes in short spurts, when it comes in bouts. It is not well equipped. It's not set up to endure long, prolonged stress like we're all experiencing now. So when that happens, it takes its toll. And when we talk about our nervous system really encompasses everything. It relates to our spiritual well-being, how grounded we feel in our body, in our world. It's, of course, has an impact on our physical health and all different kinds of things that go on with different aspects of the way that our body is functioning physically. And of course, it has a whole lot to do with how we're doing emotionally. Our anxiety levels, are those levels of depression, how clearly we can think, right? Stress impacts all of that. The same is true for our kids. And so if you have a child who struggles on a good day, then I'm sure that you've noticed that this difference in routine, the upheaval that they've experienced has exasperated those behaviors, right? So what can we do? And I believe the first thing that we should be doing is really evaluating, giving serious thought to the expectations that we're holding for them and for ourselves during this time. So there is a huge amount of pressure out there to be teachers for our kids. And a lot of the parents that I've worked with have had this tremendous pressure that they've placed on themselves to teach their kids at home everything that they were learning in school, to provide that structure, to provide that learning environment. And what I've been taught by many of the parents that I work with who homeschool their kids is that it is impossible to bring the school environment into our homes. You cannot do that. And many of us, that's what we're attempting to do. What I believe the measure of success will be for us, excuse me, when we are through this is not whether our kids are still up to their skill level in math and reading. What I believe our measure of success will be is, did our family get through this time intact? Are we still connected? Are we more connected than we were before this happened? Is my partnership or is my marriage still intact? Am I, as the parent, of sound mental health, emotional health, physical health and spiritual health. How am I doing when this is all over? Those will be our measures of success. And so I want to encourage you to really give yourself some grace and some self-compassion, to recognize that most of you weren't trained as teachers, I'm going to assume. And so you cannot you cannot be something overnight that you've had no training in. Now, it doesn't mean throw those expectations by the wayside. School is important, academics are important, absolutely. It means create a list of priorities of what is most important for you to accomplish with your child in that day. Focus on that first and second one. And if you get to others, great. But if it stops there, then it stops there. And you know that you did your best for today. Now, the other piece is adjusting expectations for ourselves. We cannot continue to function at the level that we were before this crisis because of that impact on our nervous system, because of the additional tasks that our day has, having our kids home all day. It is impossible. So if you have not yet taken some time to seriously evaluate the expectations that you have for yourself during this time and to adjust those greatly, I would encourage you to do that, right? And to not have it be a one and done sort of thing, to come back to it at least on a weekly basis. If you're in a parenting partnership, maybe do it with that person so that you're on the same page and say, this is what I can handle this week, right? Last week I could handle a little bit more. This week I can't. Or maybe you say, last week I wasn't doing as well, but this week I feel a little better. I think I can do a little more, right? And to take it week by week and to know that that's what's going to help you get through all of this. And come through the other side thriving, right? Instead of just surviving. So the other piece that is related to this and the impact of stress that it has, the real impacts that it has on our nervous system, is related to self-care. And so I know the parents that I work with, self-care isn't just this feel-good sentiment that they can kind of give or take. And it also doesn't mean like bubble baths and date nights. I'm sure if you had time to be doing those things, you would already. What we're talking about when we're the parent of a child with intense needs is this level of self-care that actually contributes to our well-being and our survival. Because this parenting journey can be so taxing on our nervous system, we have to have self-care practices that help us build our resilience. And so these don't have to be these really extravagant plans that we develop for ourselves. Most of us don't have time for that. It can be small things that make a big difference. So one of the things I did recently was talk with my membership community that I run, the Resilience Room. They're all parents of kids with neurobehavioral challenges, about what they do that keeps them well. What are those daily practices, seemingly simple things that they know anchor them, that really give them that foundation to do well throughout the week, throughout that day, throughout the week, throughout the month. And they had some wonderful ideas. And so I took those ideas and I created a weekly self-care plan that it's a template that parents can use to really anchor themselves for the week. Take a look at some really key pieces around movement, around drinking water, getting sleep, those things that we know really contribute to our nervous system health, and having that be a priority that they reset with every single week. So if you'd like to access that template, then you are more than welcome to do so. You'll want to go to bit.ly/self-care template for parents. And so bit.ly is bit.ly/self-care template for parents, all no spaces. And you should be able to access that template. So again, having expectations adjusted for our kids during this time, having expectations adjusted for us and what it means for us to be a parent during this time, and really holding on to those self-care practices that we know are so critical to us all the time, but especially right now. All right, everyone, take care. I'm thinking of you, and be well.